Just some housekeeping for the week ahead. I'm planning on doing the Gather Round preview uploaded on Tuesday night. I've got a scheduled power maintenance or power outage pushed back to Wednesday, so I've got an open window to record the preview on Tuesday. It's going to technically be early. I mean, it's a Friday night game, so you're getting this on a Tuesday, the Gather Round preview. It's a bit of a watch this space because if I can't get it uploaded in time on a Tuesday night, I'll push it into Wednesday night. Now, if you're someone that was with me when I first started this channel this time last year for Gather Round, there was no preview because I had a scheduled power maintenance and power outage, and it ruined my NBN fiber to the premise and other lights around the house. So I'm skeptical. I'm worried that it's going to happen again, this sort of stuff. So yeah, one or two things. The Gather Round preview will still be up during the week. It's either going to be uploaded Tuesday night, which I'm hoping to be the case, or I'm going to hold on to it and upload it Wednesday night, whether it's here at home or I have to go to a public library or hotspot it. Hell or high water, I'll get it uploaded. But through hell or high water, if it doesn't get uploaded during the week, you'll know why. I'll make a post on YouTube. You can follow me on Instagram if I've got internet and I can use it. But yeah, if there's any issues or anything like that during the week, I'm not dead. I'm not hurt or anything like that. I'm a little bit disappointed because the power has ruined my internet. So that's a watch this space. But Gather Round preview, hopefully up on a Tuesday night, fairly early, I know. Team selections, final word video, that is a genuine watch this space. I'm not too sure if that gets uploaded, depending on the circumstances for me this week. I could be saying this right now, and it's all a nothing burger, but this time last year, I thought it was a nothing burger, but it was an actual shit show. But anyway, team selections, final word video, and then the Gather Round review will be uploaded Saturday morning. So that's my week. Less uploads. 4 from 4 in terms of uploads over the long weekends. The round 4 review on a Friday, BFL report Saturday, and dissecting Collingwood CBAs on Sunday. Now you're seeing this on Monday. Nick Daicos, Tasmania, Collingwood, and the general footy media slop. Time to have an honest discussion about this. I will admit, I've been sitting on this for a few weeks. It's not the best timing. The only news on Nick Daicos as of this recording was he was laid out for the Brisbane game. So it's no Nick Daicos, no Collingwood. That's the main talking point right now. But for the last few weeks, the media has been talking about Nick Daicos and links to Tasmania. Tasmania is 18 months away from entering the AFL. But right now, Tasmania is 3 wins, no losses in the VFL. So they're on track to having a decent season in the VFL and they're looking the goods. They could win a premiership in the VFL. I mean, it's wishful thinking, it's optimistic, but it's realistic to be exact. And we know Tasmania is coming in, and there's obviously going to be big speculations and talks and murmurs on which players they can bring in, and none more bigger than Nick Daicos. But I have an issue with this because from what the media is talking about and speculating and reporting on, it seems to be that it's just Nick Daicos and all eyes on Nick Daicos only. Now, I'm not going to call out anyone specifically. Sam Claw will be the easy target, I know, but I will somehow defend Sam Claw because he's brought this up on the Tradies podcast and it's a lot different compared to how he's talking in the actual media through SCN or 3AW or whatever, but also on Channel 9. I have to make sure of that. Mitch Cleary is Channel 7. I get those two mixed up and the channels for that matter, the broadcasting and whatnot. But anyway, Nick Daicos being talked about in Tasmania and whatnot. The biggest issue that I had last week was during our, or 2 weeks ago during our bye, was his autograph signing being in Tasmania while Tasmania was starting their season in the VFL. And oh, coincidence? I think not. Now that's what pissed me off. Now, I did record this video a few weeks ago and I got 25, 30 minutes in without getting into the meat and potatoes. So I'm going to do my best to get through this. You can check the AFL website, look at the article October 1st, 2025, in regards to Tasmania and their list size requirements, concessions, everything involved. They'll have a bit of flexibility with bringing in players and requirements and what they need to do. And it's all subject to change. I'll talk about this a little bit later. So you can go to the AFL website, find the article, not do your research per se, but I'm not going to go through the article and then go through what I've written down. I've got on screen certain slides and talking points and whatnot. I'm going to elaborate on each one. So just bear with me, follow through. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to leave your comments down below. I've got an email address as well, but you can also message me on Instagram and blah, 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 blah. But I'm going to go through Tasmania's list requirements and everything involved once they come into the AFL, because it's not just for the end of 2027 and the trade period there, it's also for 2028, 2029, and once their stadium's up and running in 2031, I believe, from Macquarie Point. But for Tasmania, the 2027 national draft, Tasmania will have picks 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and the first picks in each round afterwards. So the second round, third round, fourth round. So as it stands right now, would be pick 20 in round 2, 39 round 3, and 58 in round 4. In the 2028 draft, they'll have picks 5 and 9 plus their own first rounder, depending on where they finish on the ladder. So, for example, if they finish 17th or 16th, that's pick 3 or 4 plus picks 5 and 9. And then they'll have the first picks in each round afterwards. So pick 20, 39, 58. Again, once free agency comes in and compensation picks and whatever, that will get exploited or extrapolated out. So yeah, it gets pushed out. That's all I watch this space, genuinely. And 2029, they'll have picks 5 and 9 in their own first rounder. So depending on when they finish on the ladder and the first picks in each round, it's all subject to change. I'll keep saying that. Uh, so yeah, that's Tasmania's draft picks. When we talk about the possibility of using those picks to trade in certain players, Tasmania must trade picks 5, 7, 11, and 13 in the 2027 draft, so they can pick or keep. Sorry, keep. They can keep picks 1, 3, and 9, but they also must trade the 2028 and 2029 picks 5. So they've got to trade out 6 first round draft picks, 4 from 2027, picks 5 in 2028 and 2029. They must be traded in that 3-year window. They could possibly trade all picks in 1 year, in one go, and try and make their rise up the ladder straight away. But if they don't use those trades or they don't trade those picks in 2027, it rolls over. So I'm not too sure how that works if they decide to go into 2027 national draft with all their picks without trading them out. I guess the AFL will come in and intervene and put in certain requirements, but that's a discussion for 2028. So that's 2 years away. And another caveat as well, and I'll talk about this with Collingwood's players, is Tasmania have up to 2 years to sign up to 18 uncontracted players, end of 2027, end of 2028. And they're going to be counted as free agents regardless of their status. So someone can draft a kid end of 2026, they play for 2 years, 2027, 2028, and they could be picked up as a free agent technically by Tasmania end of 2028 if they're on a 2-year contract once they come in. And the caveat here as well is they can only do this or sign one player from each club through free agency, quote unquote. If, for example, end of 2027, we've got a few players out of contract, 1 or 3 players, for example, want to go to Tasmania, they can sign one as a free agent and they'll need to trade for the other 2. And with the uncontracted players that Tasmania can sign, each club, if they lose that player, can get a compensation pick. And another caveat for that as well is that compensation pick, the club can decide to push it out. So if we lose someone, i.e., I'll bring up these players later, but someone like Bo McCreary or Lockie Schultz, end of 2027, if they want to go to Tasmania, we can get a compensation pick for them. Let's say early second rounder or mid second rounder. So pick 25, just a safe pick 25. It gets pushed out or whatever, but we can decide, right, pick 25, so middle second round pick. We can decide either to use it end of 2027 or the 2027 national draft or push it out into a future pick. So it's going to be very interesting how that works in the next few years. It's going to be all around the shop, all around the place. It's going to be a mess, but we'll follow along if we're all alive and cooking by then. But I think the big one, and this is going to lead into Nick Daicos talk, is Tasmania have a $5 million sign-on bonus in their first 2 years, and they can't spend more than $3 million in one season. And that right there is going to be the catalyst for how Tasmania get Nick Daicos. They're going to have to buy him out. And they're also going to have to trade for Nick Daicos because he's out of contract in 2029, unless they want to wait that long and get him as a free agent. I'll discuss the hypotheticals a little bit later. And Tasmania also have access up to 12, 17-year-olds as pre-selections. Tasmania have access to any Tasmanian prospects 2 years before AFL entry, and they'd be eligible to play for the VFL team in 2026 this year or next year. Priority access to any Tasmanian prospects linked to other academies around Australia. So, i.e., Zach McCarthy, for example, at Collingwood right now, but if he was in his draft year, Tasmania would have full access to him. If he wanted to go to Tasmania or leave himself open for being drafted by anyone, Tasmania also have access to father sons who were born in Tasmania that have played 100 plus games for other clubs. So it's going to be very annoying for certain clubs with father son picks, and Tasmania have decided to swoop in, no pun intended. They'll also have flexible list sizes in their first 5 seasons before reverting back to normal club sizes. But it's all subject to change because if they come in guns blazing, make finals straight away, the AFL can decide, you know what, no flexible list sizes. You've done everything right so far, and you're just another club in the AFL, another brick in the wall to be exact. I've got on screen right now all the Collingwood players out of contract in 2026 and 2027, as well as 2028. So basically, players who are all eligible to be listed as free agents by Tasmania if they decide to go for them. So 14 players out of contract in 2026. I'm not going to speculate on who stays and who goes and yada, yada, yada. There'll be a separate video for another time this year for Collingwood players. Again, 14 players out of contract this year. There'll be retirees, the listings, maybe trades as well, and players extending. So that's all to watch this space. 17 players out of contract in 2027 for Collingwood. There'll be retirees, delistings, trades, players that fall off, players that rise up and they need to have their contract extended. There'll be links to other clubs besides Tasmania. But Collingwood's done a good job with signing these players to decent sized contracts and decent lengths to avoid that free agency exodus sort of stuff to Tasmania and even other clubs. So full credit to Collingwood being one step ahead. And 2028, you've got Darcy Moore, Collingwood captain, likely relinquishes the captaincy in a few years' time. Rowan Steele, Charlie West, Will Hayes. It's only 4 players in 2028. That's why I'm mentioning these right now. Who knows what these players are going to look like in 18, 24, 30 months' time? Whether they're on an AFL list at another club, they're delisted, they're still at Collingwood, they rise to another level, they don't like being at Collingwood. It's 2026, and it's something we can discuss in 12 months' time. And it's nice to have this sort of video. You can look back on this sort of video as well to look at certain players and where they're at and whatever. But yeah, this is just the state of circumstances right now. And I'll bring up 2029, 2030, because this is where Tasmania, if they want these players, they're going to have to earn it. They're going to have to buy them out. They're going to have to trade for them. Nick Daicos and a few other players as well. Quaynor, Maynard, Darcy Cameron, Josh Daicos, another Daicos. You can have him. No, I'll talk about this a little bit later. Perryman, Dan Houston, Bobby Hill. So, yeah, 8 Collingwood players out of contracts from 2029 and 2030. If Tasmania want them, they're going to have to earn it. Is it too early to be discussing Nick Daicos and possibly being linked to Tasmania? You bet your sweet bippy it's early. But why are we talking about him going to Tasmania? Clicks, likes, articles, gets everyone talking. It's media slop, footy media slop, old man media, whatever you want to call it. And I'm a little bit annoyed. I'm going to play the whataboutism for this one because there are other big names in the AFL that are going to be out of contract either end of 2026, end of 2027, end of 2028, properly linked as free agents or links to Tasmania where they can genuinely buy them out, Tasmania. So yeah, why are we not talking about them? Because it's far too early, but it's okay to talk about Nick Daicos being linked to Tasmania because no one gets held accountable. And if it's wrong or he decides he wants to stay at Collingwood past 2029, no one gets proven wrong. No one gets held accountable. Hey, it's a one club player. He's a father son. What did you expect? But all this talk is pissing me off. And here we are talking about it. I'm wasting my own time. But I've written down certain players that for me at least, I'm just a Collingwood supporter, but I'm looking at certain players linked to Tasmania either because they're out of contract or because they're Tasmanian. Now, I will explain why I've got these written down. So, no particular order. There's 10 AFL listed players at other clubs from Tasmania that I think will be looked at by Tasmania. Not ironically, no pun intended or anything like that, but Riley Sanders from the Dogs, who just signed a 2-year extension. Yeah, that's a watch. Colby McKercher out of contract in 2028 from North Melbourne. That's a watch. Uh, Older players in Alex Pearce, Brody Mychek, and Toby Nankervis, if they want to play one season for Tasmania, I think that's a real possibility. And then there's a few players: Seth Campbell, Sam Banks, Ryan Mansell, and Lockie Cowan. They don't really move the needle. Seth Campbell, maybe. Sam Banks, underrated. Lockie Cowan looks like a Collingwood player with his sleeve and whatnot. But yeah, these players, who knows where they're going to be in 12, 18, 24 months' time, and links to Tasmania grow. And I've also got down certain players out of contract end of 2027, end of 2028. I don't think they are going to be linked to Tasmania right now, as of this recording in early 2026, but who knows? In 18 months' time, it could change. So I guess in no particular order besides the name of the club they're at. Sam De Koning, end of 2027 from Geelong. Gold Coast could be impacted by this with Matt Rowell and Noah Anderson. Matt Rowell being a Brownlow medalist, deserving of that as well. Two Giants players out of contract. Lockie Ash, EJ Whitten medalist, deserving, and Tom Green. I'm not sure who it was in the media who said this, but it seems like there is a genuine link for Tasmania to go for Tom Green. So that's a watch. Will Day from Hawthorn, although he's a South Australia boy. And Sire, also from South Australia at St Kilda. And Chad Warner, but he'll likely go to WA if he decides to leave Sydney. So you wouldn't expect all eight to go. But when it comes to talking about certain players going to Tasmania, I get it. They need their Gary Ablett Jr. signing, i.e. Gold Coast Suns. But uh, I don't think it's just going to be Nick Daicos. I think there's a genuine possibility that the names I've mentioned will be talked about and linked, and don't be surprised if one of them go to Tasmania. End of 2028, players out of contract. They're not exactly free agents, but you realise the names involved. Riley Thilthorpe, although he just screams a one club player. Nate Caddy, that's going to be a watch. Max Holmes from Geelong. Bailey Humphrey, although I think he'll leave earlier and go to a Melbourne based club. Errol Goulden, although that doesn't scream Tasmania. Harley Reid, though, that that's a possibility. And then I've got two North Melbourne players, because who knows where North Melbourne's going to be in 12, 18, 24 months' time. Paul Curtis and Tom Powell, who knows where these two players are going to be. But I didn't want to put in someone like Logan McDonald, or just someone who has the potential to rise to the A grade level in 12, 18, 24 months' time. But Paul Curtis and Tom Powell, they're more established right now. They've got the form as of this recording. But when it comes to Nick Daicos in Tasmania, he's out of contract in 2029. It's far too early. And Collingwood's going to hold him to his contract. And if Tasmania want Nick Daicos, they're going to have to earn it. They've got to trade out 6 first round draft picks. Tasmania want Nick Daicos right now. It's 3 top 10 picks. Come to the negotiation table with 3 top 10 picks, and then we'll discuss a negotiation. I don't want to trade Nick Daicos or anything like that, but you got to be realistic about this sort of stuff. He's out of contract 2029. He hits the free agency market end of 2029. Josh Daicos hits the free agency market end of 2030. So that's another watch as well. And I get it. Silvani, Jack Silvani's off to St Kilda. You wouldn't expect a Silvani going to another club besides Carlton. But yeah, as of this recording, it's far too early, and I shouldn't be too frustrated with these sort of talks. But when it comes to players linked to Tasmania, I just wish there was an open dialogue about this sort of stuff instead of just Nick Daicos. That's it. It's far too early. The talks will ramp up in 2027. That's fair enough when Tasmania comes in 2028. It's going to be a massive off season in 18 months' time. It's a massive watch this space, as I keep saying that again. But trying to summarise this, but for Nick Daicos in Tasmania, and for Collingwood fans as well, don't take the baits. He's a Collingwood player. I expect Nick Daicos to play out his contract until the end of 2029. If there's any unrest, if there's a falling out, if Nick Daicos really wants to leave, if Peter Daicos wants to crack the sads, he's not going to crack the sads, I know. He's a Collingwood legend. Nick Daicos is a premiership player at Collingwood. I hope he's our next Collingwood captain long term, and I hope he's a one club player. But I am open to the possibility of Nick Daicos leaving to go to Tasmania, establish himself there at Tasmania, and set up success there, I guess. But yeah, that's a discussion point in a year's time, 2 years' time, 3 years' time. But if they want Nick Daicos right now, Tasmania, 3 top 10 picks. That's just, I'm saying that right now. Josh Daicos, that's another factor as well. And who knows who our coach is going to be in 3 to 5 years' time anyway. But it's all hypotheticals and wishful thinking and everything involved. It's just, I've displayed and talked about Tasmania's list sizes and requirements in regards to trading the trade period, draft picks, and everything involved. Certain players out of contract, Collingwood players out of contract, other players linked to Tasmania, you name it. It's all a watch this space. It is something we can discuss, but I don't think everyone's having an honest discussion about it. Media, the slop that comes out, the tribalism involved when it comes to these sort of talks, it's disappointing. I know what they're doing, and it's fair play. They get the reactions, they get the clicks, and we're all raging, and they've got us hook, line, and sinker. But look, I'll wrap up this video here. Just, yeah, this is all the Tasmania, Collingwood, Nick Daicos, media, footy talk, and honest discussion. Not the best coherent talking in this video, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you guys have taken on the information. If I have anything wrong, or if there's any discussion or talking points that I've missed that you want to talk about, leave your comments down below. Give the video a like, share it, recommend it. Talk about all things Collingwood and Tasmania and Nick Daicos. I'll leave you guys all to it. I hope you guys have had a good long weekend. Please be well, please be safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Up the pies.